Axie Infinity is one of the big gaming platforms when it comes to NFTs. Today we're going to break it down a little further. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. You guys, of course, have been asking for more NFT and more gaming projects, analysis, and really Axie, of course, is kind of the poster child of what's happening. We are doing a ton of research right now on that area, so we are going to be bringing more and more to you coming soon. So stay tuned right here for all that. Make sure, again, and subscribe to the channel. Help us move forward. We've got a lot of big news coming in a thing called the Diamond Circle. You want to be a big part of that. It simply means we're going to be dropping back digital assets to our family, which is the Diamond Circle. And you guys are going to be able to join that free, no cost to you. It's just a membership program. We'll have details coming to you soon. Jumping over to the story here today, Axie Infinity. This is the one that was broke a few days ago, back on the 23rd. But the point being on this one was that its gains of over 45%, but they were concerned that it was going to see a death cross fear. And really that was kind of the position that they had at that time. And what we have looked at as we continue to analyze Axie Infinity is there are some movements happening. Back to the story here, native cryptocurrency, obviously the shards, AXS, bounced higher on the 23rd as the market shifted. It's listing because it got dropped onto Bitfinex and also Bitstamp. The other thing, the exchange rate surged 15.52 to 69.68, negating all the losses that it had incurred in the beginning of the week. So it was all good. The intraday rally came as part of an overall bullish retracement that began on the 21st when AXS was changing hands for about 48 bucks. So good moves on Axie in general, but we did see a little bit of softening on Axie, and really kind of the future of where it's going is going to be the big point. Jumping over to this story, you look at it here more recently, and that is the whole issue of the bearish trend, and that is eyeing a breakout to $86. Let me zoom in on this one because this one is a little bit more in line with what our data is showing, and that is it's showing hints of some attempts at a bullish breakout, possibly countering the broader cryptocurrency market. This is an interesting statement right here, because if we do see a continued breakout here with Axie, this could be something that triggers a lot of the other NFT projects, including maybe some of the altcoins that are moving in that direction. His downside risks remain, but few altcoins have a chart set up that would support a bullish move, at least right now. So a powerful point and figure chart pattern could trigger an explosive higher move, is what they're saying. The price has a rare point and figure chart pattern developing known as the split triple top. Let me kind of show it to you, but the triple top will develop if a buyers push Axie Infinity to 70. Thus, the hypothetical entry would be $71 with a risk limited at 68, and the hypothetical profit at 82. And that's what they're talking about this little chart variation. You can kind of see the high right there of bumping. So this is an interesting look at it. Again, this looks at analyzing the chart or technical analysis of some of these things and some of these projects. Again, we don't necessarily, it's not that I don't like technical analysis. That's not the case at all. In fact, we have, Evan Aldo, one of our analysts that does a lot of market cipher analysis. I do believe in it because it does have trends, and there are identifiers and leading indicators that can help you move on technical analysis. But the things that usually push charts is always that leading indicator, which is the sentiment and the amplification of a project. So that's really kind of where I look at, because if you basically just follow the money, you're going to understand how this starts to push. And the only way to follow money is follow the waves of the hornets out there moving around. So very big deal. Another highly sought out pattern by point and figure traders is the bullish fake out pattern. And this pattern is to remain valid. Also, Axie Infinity price can't move above the $69 level. And this would be if the O column prints and forms a double bottom at 63, then the new price would be an entry at 62 and would confirm the bullish fake out pattern. Hypothetical target zone for this on the bears side of it is a big massive drop to 40. So where does this play out with Axie? I want to jump over to Trade the Chain and take a look at Axie on the 1 day and 7 day. Because this is trading right here at 71.89 right now. Here's the 7 day. You can start to see this paint out. But look at this action right here, which was the price action starting really midday on the 28th and bumping out right here and you can kind of see it going to the 71.3 mark, which was right there at the 65. So we saw the hot move. Sentiment kind of tracked with it. Again, trailing sentiment here on Trade the Chain. When we look at data, because of the amplification analysis that we do, sentiment is always trailing. You're always looking backwards in time. Amplification is a leading indicator, so it's always looking forwards in time. And that is the big factor here. So with this kind of tracing, with what we're seeing over here on just Trade the Chain and where sentiment is going, and what you're seeing with these potentials, because this is showing two potential ways that there's always an up and there's always a bear and a bull in this, but there's two potential ways of how this might play out for Axie. And where I want to jump to is the chart, because this is where it gets kind of cool. And the scenario was this right here, is this measurement was on September 19th through September 21st, and that ran a number here, right here on sentiment, 6108, and an amplification at 60.75. Now these are nested very tightly, meaning amp, sentiment, very, very close to each other. When they're in that kind of scenario, it usually starts to do one of two things. And again, you get your bear and your bull, but it usually starts to point things downward or it will point things upward. The problem is that 61 and 60 is still a little bit of a soft number. So the point being is that if you look at the softness in this climb right here and the climb potentially that we're on right now, which is where we're at currently, this bubble came in on September 24th and ended on September 26th. The sentiment had jumped to 74.59, up from 61. Now we're talking about power moves. And guess what? Amplification had flipped. Amplification is 75.66 and up. This only showed, and when we pulled this bubble, it grafted out the growth here. And sure enough, Axie is held literally right in the middle of this zone. So do we see it kind of flattening out here? It could really take a little bit of a bump right here, which would be around October 1st. And then right here, you see that point of somewhere around the $80 mark, which, back to the story, if you look at where they're pointing, that's exactly what they see this $82 strike price that could be the one that really takes Axie Infinity up in a very interesting way. So this, as what they have said, this would see an outperforming metric over Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously in a time when we're not seeing a lot of movement in the charts. And even though I think this first week of October coming up next week, we will start to see some big moves in Ethereum and Bitcoin in a very positive way. So back to my point on Axie and following the charts, and really kind of just a reminder, back into Trade the Chain, is again, here's the trailing sentiment. The trailing sentiment actually dipped here a little bit before it took off, and that's the kind of scenario that you see where when you look at trailing sentiment, back here when we were looking at trailing sentiment, we still had a soft number that we were still recommending, hey, this is going to move because it's too tight, meaning sentiment and amplification. This was already bumping the opportunity where amplification was going to outperform sentiment. And anytime you do that, you do get near and you'll see those kind of moves, which is exactly what we saw right here. And then this little bit of flat, which again, are those windows where you have those tight windows between amp and sentiment where you can see rises and then a little bit of sideways chop. Exactly what happened right here on Axie. But when you look into the long term, big moves ahead, I think this is going to be a very bearish sign for Axie. So if you're in it, definitely hold on strong because I think you're in a good position. If you have not jumped in, I don't know that there's a lot of move for you at the $72 price. I would probably wait for a little bit. Again, these are market movers. Market movers will give you this kind of analysis. We use our own proprietary data, and we'll use data coming over from like stock to flow, blockchain data. We'll look at, obviously, money flow. We use, everything from Market Cipher and beyond to try to put together some sort of a semblance, but it's not investment advice. So, but if I was looking at Axie and trying to make a position, if I'm already holding, I'm holding out because I think this has got a little bit more room before we take profits. Remember, take profits. Take profits this time of year, especially with Axie, even though I've done that before with Axie and Axie has went to the moon on me and people are like, oh, I sold too soon, or I should have FOMO'd in. Those are the kind of things, those are good mistakes to have. selling too soon is a good mistake to have. It means that you took profits, and taking profits is a good thing. We are investors, all right? Don't get married to these coins, don't get married to these projects. There are some out there that are absolutely changing the world. Those kind of projects you definitely want to keep close to and help support those projects. But some of these, and I do think Axie is changing the world in the way of NFT gaming in general, but is it one of those that I kind of see some ride up and down? That's really kind of the scenario here. So be cautious, but good luck on your ride if you're in Axie. If you're not, pause for a moment, wait for a dip, jump back in. You're going to see another opportunity, much like you saw right back here on September 21st when you could have bought in at the $49 price zone. So that's a good example of why and what you could have done right there. Same thing if you look back at the price zones right here on September 13th, or if you go back here to this bottom on September 8th. All were entry points when you start to see this sideways action, providing that you can have a conviction for NFT gaming. I do, and our team here, inside the realm of the Diamond Circle, are all in on NFT gaming, and it really will be the thing that changes the future of what NFT is doing. So, all right, you guys are listening in over on the podcast. Best thing to do is, of course, subscribe. Give us some more kudos over there. We love that. And I understand why you're listening on the podcast. I get it. You just don't. You're on the move. You're out doing a run, something like that. Good for you. That's great. But if you want to jump into these charts, you've got to get over onto the YouTube channel. The best way, just go over there, Paul Barron Network. That's it. You're going to land on our channel, subscribe, and of course hit the bell so it's going to give you notifications. And also give us some comments. We love to get your feedback on what you want to hear, want to listen to on your podcast, and also what to analyze for you and maybe dive deeper into some of these projects. Remember, we try to look at the top 200 to 300 coins and projects, unless we're going into the IDO and early stage projects, which those are some of the ones that we do identify as well. But give us your ideas. We love to hear them. We'll try to do some research and get them back to you in format of a video. And of course, as always, if you want to reach me out on Twitter, you can hit me up at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.